States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up, we have roll call, but we'll let the record reflect that everyone that was just here 5 minutes ago is still here. And we'll move right into public hearing. First up, we have ordinance 2022-1636, ordinance amending planned unit development to allow for a total of 10 units for the property located directly west of 11649 North Fort Washington Road. This was recommended by the Planning Commission November 21st, and it was the first reading last month at the Common Council on December 13th. Is there a motion to go into public hearing?
Move to go into public hearing. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're now in public hearing. Is there anyone here this evening who wishes to speak about this item?
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of closing public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
We're back in regular session. We'll take this up for consideration. Is there a short staff overview on this one?
I was going to show you something on the projector as well, but
Oh, but it's having problems?
we don't need it.
Sorry, Jack.
It's okay. So this is a request. This is the land behind Lexington Square. In 2018, it was approved for 8 units. There was two 3-unit buildings and a 2-unit building. The current request is to change that to 5 2-unit buildings. It increases the density by 2. It still complies with the R6 zoning district in terms of density and open space requirements. The only waiver that was requested was to reduce the setback between the 2 buildings. Our code requires a 30-foot separation. They're asking for a 15-foot separation. That code language goes back to the days when we didn't have water, and that was a fire prevention requirement. The current separation for buildings under the building code is 10 foot. These are side by sides, and I can show you. I'll try to, as soon as he gets the projector on, I can show you the difference between the 2018 and the 2021 plan. But this was in front of Planning Commission. It was recommended 8-0, and we recommend approval of the PUD amendment.
Thank you. It looks like we need a new projector.
Looks like it just went on, Justin.
Just went on. Oh. Now, while we wait for the projector to warm up, are there any questions anyone has for staff?
There you go.
Okay, so this is the current request. For you familiar with the area, this is Eastbrook. This is the 2 commercial buildings. This is the condominiums in the back. So this is the Eastbrook Drive on one side, and it loops around to Eastbrook Drive here and to eventually Port Washington Road. So they're showing 2 unit buildings in this location here, 2 unit buildings in this location here, 1 down here, and then there's a small accessory building for maintenance supplies. The one of the issues that I met with Alderman Parrish, there was a concern by some of the residents about access. This area up in here, this road leads to Astor Woods in this location. It's a little bit congested at times. So we're just requesting that this one access point serve all 4 of these units. So there'll be a small little frontage road located right here. Just for comparison's sake, I will bring up the 2018 plan. This is what was approved in 2018. As you can see, there were 3 unit buildings with 2 access points off of this location, a 3-unit building located here, and a 2-unit building here. Access at the south end was pretty much the same as it is now, and this one this one improves a little bit. It actually pushes a little bit further east. So that's basically the main difference between the 2 plans: conversion from 8 to 10 units and more 2-unit buildings versus the 3-unit buildings.
Alderman Parrish.
Mayor, also thank you to Assistant Director Zader. That's your current title. Appreciated you meeting with me. I did receive some communications from both Astor Woods and Estabrook that precipitated our meeting. I did have a number of concerns before that meeting. After we met, a lot of my questions were answered, and I feel I was able to address some of those concerns with the residents. This is one of those cases where the land is quite developable, and it's, well, what would it be if not this? And the perfect example is what was previously approved, which now that I look closely at it, I hate it. It's 2 large apartment-looking buildings and 3 ingress egress points in what is already a busy cul-de-sac. So this kind of breaks it up into something that's much more consistent with the neighborhood. It's similar density. I would very much like to work with Public Works about potential yield and stop signs at that intersection that Jack referenced. And I have no further objections, and I'll be voting in favor of it. And I think my residents will be okay with it, with you supervising its implementation. Thank you. And I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That ordinance is approved. Thank you. Next up, we have personal appearances and public comment. Citizens wishing to address the council on any matter not on tonight's agenda may do so at this time. If you desire to be heard on any agenda items, please wait till those are up on the agenda. Please speak into the microphone at the podium. Time limit is 5 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on anything not on the agenda tonight? Don't see anyone, so we'll move on to public officials' reports. I've got nothing. Is there anything from the city administrator?
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, thank you. As I'm fond of saying, on the second Tuesday of the month, it's Big Tuesday here at City Hall, and it's Big Tuesday here in Mequon as well. We not only have our council and committee meetings, we also have a special election going on. That'll be wrapping up in the next 12 minutes or so for the District 8 alder person. Plans are to swear in the newly elected aldermen later this week. There will be a ceremonial swearing in here at our next council meeting in February. And so we'll be joined by a newly elected alderperson to fill the vacant chair down next to Alderwoman Schneider. Also today, the County Line Road overpass was closed at 6 a.m. this morning. As some of you may know, the Port Washington Road overpass is now open as part of the I-43 project. So motorists and residents looking to go north-south can use Port Washington Road during the closure, which is expected to last through mid-2023. So the overpass at County Line Road will be closed as of today through mid-year. Updates are available on WISDOT's Project 511 website, and we anticipate another busy and productive year of construction along the I-43 corridor here in Mequon. The chiefs are both here tonight, and I've asked them each to give a really short update on 2 items of concern within their respective departments. I'll ask Chief Pryor to come forth firstly to talk a little bit about the transition of emergency dispatch services to Ozaukee County, which started January 1st. Chief?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for taking the time just to give you an update on the dispatch center. So while most folks were celebrating New Year's Eve this year, we were preparing to make our final transition from our dispatch center up to Ozaukee County. And that went off without a hitch. At midnight, we flipped the switch, for lack of a better word, and have turned over communication entirely to Ozaukee County. We had been doing that on midnight shift for the last several months. So at midnight, it wasn't as big of an impact as it was as the day shift came on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Everything is going well. We are communicating with Ozaukee on a daily basis to consider, pain points and working points as we're working through the system, and all things are going well as we're making the transition. We have not had to go backwards in any way, shape, or form, and we continue to move forward with the consolidation. So just as a few reminders, this basically established now a single answering point for all 911 calls for service, which should reduce call transfers and improve response times. Calls to the police department on the non-emergency phone line are now being answered by a phone tree. So this non-emergency line phone tree is in place between the clerical hours, which are 7:30 in the morning to 7:30 at night. And when that phone tree answers the phone, it first asked if this is emergency, and if that's the case, then they can either hang up and dial 911, or they can push 1 for a police officer and immediately transferred to the dispatch center in Ozaki. If it's an administrative question, their call will be routed to our administrative clerks, which are on duty. The lobby still remains open 24/7 to the public, so there's restrooms available in the lobby. There's an AED that's been installed in the lobby to assist with emergency situations. Again, the lobby window will be answered in person between 7:30 in the morning and 7:30 at night, Monday through Friday, and from 8 to 4:30 on Saturdays and Sundays. If no one is in the station to immediately answer the window, there's a phone at the window with a sign next to it that immediately connects to Ozaki Dispatch when folks walk in. So if they need help and they need assistance, they can pick up the phone. No dialing needed. It immediately transfers them to a person at Ozaki County. A lockable safe room has also been created inside the lobby of the public safety building. So this room can be accessed as needed. And once inside, an individual can secure the door and lock themselves inside. A similar phone is inside this room for them to pick up the phone and be in contact with Ozaki Dispatch. Ozaki Dispatch also has access to the camera that's located in that room, as well as the camera that's in our police department, public safety lobby. And we continue to work with Ozaki County as we move forward, and we're creating a patrol sergeant liaison to work with the Ozaki County supervisor, who's a lieutenant. So our sergeant will be working with the communications lieutenant at Ozaki to continue the consolidation process and work together to make everything go smoothly. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. And then Chief Bialk has a quick update on one of our first responders who was injured late last month, rendering aid on the local interstate system. Chief?
Yes, I got an email from Josh the other night. First of all, he's very humbled and appreciative of everything that he's received. He says he's getting better every day. His jaw still needs a little bit of work because he can only eat minced food currently, so he told us to stop sending him food because he can't eat it. He sits on a donut to help heal his vertebrae. Doesn't need knee surgery. He just needs a lot of PT. There's still no time frame on when he might return to work. It's still too early. He still has to heal some more. The Sunshine Rotary dropped off a check last night for $5,000. We forwarded that to Josh. He said some of the bills are starting to come in, so he was very appreciative of that. And the union gave him 25% of what was in their fund, and they also wrote a check for $2,000, and they took that to the woman that was killed. They took it to her funeral and handed it to her family. So, and Josh still wants to meet that family someday. That's it.
So we're continuing to work through the Southern Ozaki Fire Department as well as the city's Human Resources Division to ensure that Josh has all the care and the backup support he needs administratively from an employer perspective to ensure his full recovery and eventual return to work. So thank you, Chief. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. And we're glad to hear Josh is doing good and getting better every day. I know a bunch of us were very concerned for his well-being when that happened last year and continue to be concerned. So thanks for the update. Next up, we have the consent agenda. We have several meeting minutes from various boards and commissions, as well as a resolution. Does anyone want to remove any item from the consent agenda? Or is there a motion? Approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on any of the items? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And the consent agenda is approved. Next up, we have two ordinance first readings. They will not be acted upon unless there's a suspension of the rules, which requires a 2/3 majority vote of all the aldermen. First up, we have ordinance 2023-1638, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Mequon Municipal Code related to electronic attendance at meetings. This is recommended by Public Welfare on December 13th and is a first reading. Next up is ordinance 2023-1639, an ordinance amending Chapter 50 and Section 46-133 of the Mequon Municipal Code relating to nuisances within the city, including noise. Recommendation is forthcoming from Public public welfare. Was this recommended this evening?
Public welfare tabled it this evening,
Table,
and-
okay.
and it will be, we should be get it done before the next meeting.
Sounds good. It's still a first reading. Next up, we have ordinances. Ordinance 2022-1633, an ordinance amending Chapter 58 of the Mequon Municipal Code establishing banquet facilities as conditional uses in the B2 Town Center, Arrival Corridor zoning districts, and conference centers as conditional uses in the B2, B4, and Uleo Creek mixed-use zoning districts. It was recommended by Planning Commission. First reading was Common Council on November 9th. There's a public hearing this evening. It was tabled at the Common Council on December 13th, and earlier this evening we recommended approval of this with removal of two of the zoning districts listed, the Arrival Corridor and Uleo Creek districts. But first we need a motion to remove it from the table.
Make a motion to remove from the table.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of removing from the table, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This matter is now before us officially.
Move approval as recommended by committee of the whole.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on the item? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that ordinance is approved as amended. Next up, ordinance 2022-1637, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Mequon Municipal Code in connection with eliminating the position of emergency dispatcher. This is recommended by Finance and Personnel on December 13th. The first reading was at Common Council also on December 13th. And we just heard an update from the chief regarding this matter and how the transition is going a few seconds ago. Is there a
Move approval.
motion and a second? Any further comments or questions? I'm assuming not. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that ordinance is approved. Next, we have resolutions. Resolution 4008, a resolution allowing a transfer of $36,661 from the Information Technology Division's 2022 budget to the division's capital account in connection with the completion of planned city network upgrades in 2023. This was approved earlier this evening by Finance and Personnel Committee. Does anyone need any background on this? We couldn't spend the money in 2022 because we couldn't get the hardware. So we're just putting it in a capital account so we can do it later this year when the parts finally come in.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye when the roll is called.
Alderman Strelchak.
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Hancher.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Parrish. Alderwoman Schneider. Aye.
And that resolution is approved. Next is Resolution 4009, a resolution approving the purchase of 2 portable backup pumps and appurtenances from Wisconsin Pump Works of Green Bay, Wisconsin in the amount of $149,319. This was recommended earlier this evening by the Sewer Utility District Commission.
Move approval.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? I'll point out again, in case anyone's watching this meeting but didn't watch the other meeting, we're saving nearly $500,000 by going with this option opposed to the one we considered a couple months ago. So good work to staff for changing plans and shopping around a little bit. I forgot, is there a motion? There's a motion and a second. Any further comments? All those in favor, please say aye when the roll is called.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Hancher.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Parrish.
Aye.
Alderwoman Schneider. Aye. Alderman Strelchak.
And that resolution is approved. Next, we have no unfinished business from prior meetings, no specified new business, but we do have 2 potential closed session items, but we will only be taking action on one of them. So item 12B, we will not seek any action on this evening, but item 12A, the potential claim against the Mequon Police Department. Common Council may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85 Prin 1 Prin G for the purposes of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved, and then may reconvene into open session to take such action as deemed appropriate. Is there a motion to go?
Move to go in closed session.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye when the roll is called.
Alderman Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Hancher,
Aye.
Alderman Garrell,
Aye.
Alderman Parrish,
Aye.
Alderwoman Schneider,
Aye.
Alderman Strelchek,
Aye.
Alderman Bushy.
Aye. We're now in closed session. I do not anticipate our return. All right. Good night, everyone.